Do we find our space? Can we hear me? We're good. I'm trying to use my inside voice these days. Y'all know my inside voice stinks. All right, get on out, kitty. Okay. There's a delicate balance between how much you can open the door between the cat getting out and the chickens getting in. Y'all just don't understand. All right, so find your seat. We'll just go kind of a little bit into the 10 o'clock hour. I'm not sure about y'all, but I don't think I have anywhere to be today. Except at 10:30, then homeschool starts. So breathe in, and as you do, so we have this thing we do with the chickens. They come down and they sit down in front of us, and then you scratch their back, and they're like, oh, that's great, oh, that's great. And then you stop, and they go, and they ruffle their feathers out, and they walk off all satisfied, and like stars in their eyes. So start movements of fluffing your feathers. What is it in you that needs a little ironing out, a little expansion? You know, maybe it's the neck space. Maybe it's the shoulder space. A lot of this, I know personally, my shoulders are rolling in and my sternum is tucking into my belly and I'm turning into a turtle because I'm holding in around trying to, and I'm not consciously doing it, but trying to keep things the way I remember them. So I'm really guarding that. So I have to several times a day pick up through my thoracic body and put that sternum out front. So this morning we pulled the meditation card of the orange-bellied parrot, which is a Tasmanian bird. And it says, when orange-bellied parrot leaves the shores of its summer homeland on winter migration, it trusts the spirit of adventure, and it brings all of its beauty with it. As you step out into the world, bring yourself with you in full color. This is not a time to hold back. You are only one, but your gifts are bright and many. Release the pace of the past. Take a breath. This is your time to fly. And then the affirmation says, I am an expression of God's light and color. I move with the swiftness of angels. I radiate who I am in all that I do. I am the rainbow bridge with wings. So now that you're all fluffed up, take a big breath. And add a big exhale. Really exaggerate it. We'll move into a little pranayama work. So breathe it in. Sigh it out forcefully. Lift the shoulders when you breathe in. Sigh it out and drop them. Breathe it. And drop. Breathe it. Lift and drop. Breathe and drop. Let it be like the beating of wings. 3 more times. 1 more time. Now lift, hold the breath in, hold the shoulders up for just a moment. And then exhale, forcefully dropping the shoulders. Slip the fingertips up behind the ears. Open the tips of the elbows. Tip the chin up slightly, supporting the back of the head. Open the throat space. Open the collarbones. Expand across the chest as if a bird that went to go outstretch its wings to take off. You're opening that front body, knowing that the back is being supported by your beautiful muscles. Breathe it in. And then when you exhale next time, let the elbows come together almost like the point of a beak. And then breathe in and open the elbows up, opening the chest. And then exhaling, touching the elbows together. Inhaling, opening up. Exhaling, touching elbow points, pulling through that upper back. Inhale, open. Now this time when the elbow points touch together, let the back round and find that sweet space between the shoulder blades and in that upper back where everything's going to get a huge stretch while you take a huge deep breath. So really breathe into that space. Exhale out of it. And one more time, breathe into that space. That's the space of the high heart back there. And release the breath, tip everything back up, open the elbow tips, and then let the thumbs slide toward the ceiling, then the fingertips slide out toward the walls. Tip the palms up, little tiny arch in the back when you do. Finding the sun. We might be sitting in buildings, but find the sun. It's been quite a few days since it's been out in all its glory. Let it shine on your feathers. Breathe it in. Breathe it out. Dive those fingertips down toward the mat. If you're sitting on a cushion, you could either stay there or redo your feet. And you could plop your hands on top of your feet and then expand one wing at a time. Open, little twist, and then bring it down and move with your breath. You guys know how to do this. It's all about opening and breathing and closing. Oh, so if you've been more sore lately, some of these movements are gonna be both joyful and just gentle remembrances of all the hard work we've done this week. One more time to each side. Really expand. Now the right hand is going to come down to sit on the floor or the tops of the feet. That left arm is going to open up and out. And as you open, let the chest widen and then take the pinkies, slide them down behind you, and then arch up and over. And then the pinky slides down and back. And then the thumb arches over. One more time. The pinky slides back. The thumb arches over. Now hold here for just a moment. Gift yourself one big breath. And then slide up through neutral. Let the other hand join it. Clasp the thumbs together, so hook the thumbs, and let the hands become a bird unto themselves. So if you look up, it's that whole, when you're making shadow puppets on the wall, that's your dove. Pull out through the thumbs so that the upper body widens. You widen through the armpit spaces, you widen through the clavicles, pressing fingertips up, and then widen even more with a breath. And then left hand travels down, right hand opens up. Breathe into that open chest space. Give yourself as much rotation as the body is willing to take this morning. And then drop the pinky down behind. And then the thumb arches over, making a little rainbow with the side. Pinky touches down. Thumb arches over. Ori's so good at this. she's like the best student to have hanging out in the house with us. Now let that arm reach overhead. Breathe into that side body. Fill your wings. And then come to neutral. Thumbs hook the opposite way. So it's going to feel weird, and they may not want to stay hooked together. So reach up, broaden the chest, And see if you can breathe into both the chest space and space right behind it, that back space at the same time, expanding forward and backward. Beautiful. Wings slide down. Hands land. If you've got a cushion, you can either keep it or move it. I'm going to slide off of mine. And then windshield wipers with the knees. Oh, yes. Ooh. Oh, I blame Margie for this today. Holy crow. Ah, there we go. Anybody that wants to step it up a little bit and wants to lift and then place the legs down and lift, you're welcome to. Get a little bit of that abdominal work in. Helps with the chest pumping and the exchange of air. Beautiful. And then once the legs come to lie off to the right side, let them stay there. Plant the hands. If you need to put the elbows back on a cushion, put the elbows on a cushion, but then press down and press up. Press down, press up, press down, press up, press down, press up. And then huge breath. Gorgeous. One more time. And then release a little bit, rotate knees to center, pick the legs up, let them just hold there in the middle. If you want to really expand and let those wings go, you can reach up into the heavens and use that core space. Big breath in, release, hands come down, feet come down, knees off to the left. So pressing down, pressing up, pressing down, pressing up, pressing down, pressing up. Once you've expanded fully, then follow on with the breath. One more time. Release through the elbows a little. One more time. Knees switch up center. Grab onto the backs of the thighs at first. Lift the heart space toward the toes. And then pull your shoulder blades back and together. Chin comes into the throat. Feet flexed or toes pointed. It depends. Some people, I don't know. I mean, I guess former dancers like to point their toes. And then right hand rises. Take that elbow, bend it, touch your right kneecap, and then press that back up. And then breathe that elbow down, touch the kneecap, press it up. And one more time, touch the kneecap, press it up, big breath, and switch. Reestablish neutral, and then left arm reaches up, really expand, open the armpit, and then elbow touches knee. And then it reaches like a bird, stretching its wings. We reach and then we touch the knee. We reach up, big breath here. Feel the shake, feel it. It's good for us. Hand grabs the back. Now, if you want to straighten the legs out, straighten the legs out. If you want to lift the arms, you could lift the arms. I'm afraid if I do, I'm going to set my hip flexors off. There you go. Kristen's got it. Yay! Breathe it in. Breathe it out. Oh, fold and roll forward. Viv nailed it. Good job. So it's not hard to envision birds in our household. So if you're not an avid bird watcher, I mean, I got 5 birds living in my living room. So you come down and you hear them squeaking and peeping, and Ori's in there digging out little baby chickens and like wrestling them and making them love her. It's really cute. But they love to stand on the perches and stretch their wings. So they'll stretch one leg and one wing at the same time, making this beautiful rainbow of feathers. But for those that don't watch birds, it might be a kind of a harder concept. Hands plant, body rolls up. Oh, yes. Come up to standing in the best way you know how. If you want to just cross the ankles, roll forward, tuck toes, and then tip right on up. Maintain a forward fold for just a moment. And just know what it's like to be upside down for a moment. And then bend the knees, hands to thighs. We're going to straighten the right leg, keep the left leg bent, and then the right wing is going to just open up. And we're going to feel this all through right glute, right hip. Bend the arm, drop it behind the back. Reach for the left front pocket. And then for those that want to take it a little further, you can dislodge your right leg from the floor and reach it out at 90 degrees from the body. Woo! But those that don't want to go there, you certainly don't have to. And then put that foot down, unwind that arm forward, fold, knees bent, knees straight, up to you. One more time, knees bend, hands to thighs. Left leg straightens, left arm spins up. Oh, holy gun smoke in my hip. Pew. It's like a Bonanza Corral shootout in there. Woo, pew, pew. Oh my goodness. Fold that arm, drop it across the back. If it'll go, reach for the right front pocket. And then either just hold here or find some modification, or if you really want to get into it, dislodge that left leg. Whoop, raise it out to the side. Beautiful. Leg becomes wing, and then slide it back down into place. Knees bend, body bends forward. Give yourself 2 breaths. All right, I spy yourself some counter space or some wall space. Bend the knees, hands to thighs, roll the spine up, shoulders lift and roll back, head stacks last. And then you see where your wall space is. We're going to snuggle over. Gonna move a couple of things out of the way. Meditation cards to the side. Okay, so we're gonna snuggle the tush right on up against the wall. And then take a fairly wide stance with the feet at first. So the goal here is we're going to do fish on the wall first. So that same little tipped posture that Ori was so kind to do for us. She was like, and how long do I have to hold this? God bless you, because I talked a long time. I apologize. So we want to pull the belly button in toward the spine first. Find a little tiny squeeze of the tailbone. And then roll the shoulders up and back until the shoulder blades make good contact with the wall. And then the backs of the arms press in. So, you know, I guess Viv, that's you over there. You've got the countertop behind you. So the thing is if you've got negative space behind you, just make sure that your shoulder blades come together and that your forearms are pressing into something. And then you'll notice it gets really hard to breathe. So find a way to settle in to being this erect. It feels like we're really at attention. Find the backs of the hands and press that center knuckle into the wall. And then the back of the head, it's a gentle, tiny press with the back of the head. And when you press the back of the head, notice what gives way in the center body. My belly button tends to give way and then I get an arch in my back. So then I have to concentrate on pulling the spine back in. See if there's one more breath available. And then just release. Phew. It's amazing how just standing against the wall and just holding yourself there, it's like, whoa. I mean, was that just me? I mean, that got hard. It seems kind of ridiculous. We're going to do it one more time, though. So heels, tush, belly button, just like we do in class. Build it up from the ground up. So when a bird stands on a perch, the bird doesn't like get up there and do like this first. The bird stands and then straightens its legs, lifts its body over its spindly little feet, and then lifts its head last, because the head throws them off balance. So take the arms, press them in, press that center knuckle in, press the shoulder blades in. Notice what gives way when you do. Press the back of the head in, and then ever so slightly soften the knees so that we're not trying to press the back of the knee into the wall too. And then if anybody walks in the room, they're going to howl laughing at us. Breathe in. Breathe out. And release. So that's the attention of the back side of the body. It's like the undercarriage of a car. We can't see it, therefore we don't pay attention to it. And when we don't pay attention to it, especially as women, this happens as we get older, because the osteoporosis affects the thoracic trunk far more than it does the legs and the pelvis. So we pull up and in. Now we're going to step back to the wall. Give yourself about, 2 inches of space between the tush and the wall. We're going to turn that right foot out and give yourself a pretty generous gait here. So for those that have normally taken like a short stance, unless it's a pain thing, with a wall, you're going to be able to have more confidence here. So that I've got my tush, pretty much my right bun is really pressed against the wall. I want to then take my left hip, press it back as much as I can, square my shoulder blades into the wall just like I was, and then at little angles out here, find that middle knuckle and press that middle knuckle into the wall. Now the chin pulls into the hollow of the throat, and then last of all, pull the belly button in so that low back presses a little closer, and you'll notice everything in your pelvis has to come into attention there. So then we've got the front heel. It's bisecting the center of the back foot. Slide the knuckles up the wall until they're parallel with the floor. And then just real quickly, bend the right knee. So there you've got your little bitty warrior posture. So this is how we take the pressure off, just with the little warrior. But then notice what gives way when you bend your knee. My belly gave way, so I got to pull it back in. And then straighten that leg again. Notice whether the arms needed to move. Kathleen, you're going to have to be very careful. She's got the luxury over there. She's got walls in both places. Then simply slide. So you're going to watch our torsos. We're going to slide along the wall. We're going to keep our arms parallel to the floor. We're still pressing back into the wall, so we've got support. And then rotate the arms. So in class, we have people that come out and go, hey, all right. So notice, in order to do this, where my upper body had to go. Most folks haven't worked with the length in the opposite side enough to be able to get down into that foot. So they come out here, which then torques the knee, and then it takes it all into the back. We're looking for obliques right there. And then breathe it up. Turn the toes in, drop the arms, step together, and have a breath. Triangle posture. It's such a good one. It's all the alignment bits. And in most of the places I teach, we don't have enough wall space. So, as going forward, we might have to start clearing some of the wall spaces around us. All right, step back into the wall. About 2 inches between your tush and the wall. You might need a little more, depends on how much mac and cheese and pizza you got built up back there. I probably need 3 inches. Turn the left toes out. Step the right foot out. Give yourself Give yourself room. Take the space. We don't have to worry about bumping into anybody else's mat. And then work yourself into the wall until that left bun makes good contact. Then you roll the shoulder blades into the wall. Arms press, center knuckle presses, back of the head presses, belly button then suck it in. There we go. So there's the alignment. Now, if you notice you've got all of your weight in the outside of your right foot, roll into the center point of that foot. And maybe even pick up your left toes so that you can then feel the press of the ball of the foot and the heel at the same time. So as if that wasn't enough attention, we're going to lift the arms till they're parallel. And then just bend that knee. Notice, God, as soon as I bend the knee, my belly goes bloop. So it's like a trigger mechanism. So now I know that when I go into a warrior two posture, I normally let go in this belly region. Oh, okay. So now when I'm practicing on my own, I know I need to pull that in. Take a breath, straighten that leg, and then slide. Slide, 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 slide. Keep those arms parallel, 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 and then rotate. So when you rotate, that upper knuckle comes in contact with the wall. That center knuckle on the left hand comes in contact with the wall. Cheeks are on the wall, shoulder blades are on the wall. And then pay a little of attention to that front knee. Make sure that it's got a little micro unlock in it so that we can build the muscles. Oh yeah, feel that hold. And then let your wings spread, fly, tip, balance out. Hands to belly, toes forward, heel toe in. Whew, nice work. All right, scooch the buns and the heels back. Bring the ankles close together. Shoulder blades into the wall and snug the heels as close to the wall as you can get. Arms fan out for the first part. Shoulder blades in, belly in. Squeeze through the inner thighs. Squeeze through the inner thighs so that you can feel some attention around the pubic bone down there. Center knuckle in the wall at first, back of the head presses in. So we're going to do fish posture on the wall so that you can say, yeah, I did fish today. So if you go do fish, you know, and you're like, well, I don't want to do it that way, then at least you got this one in. We're going to take the palms, then rotate them in and down on either side of the hips. So we're really pressed in. We've got the palms pressing backwards, the shoulder blades pressed, the back of the head pressed, inner thighs squeezing. Now lift the sternum. Press the forearms and the hands into the wall. Lift the sternum, press out. So suddenly you're going to expand forward. Expand forward, expand forward. Chin pulls into the hollow of the throat. Stretch through the back of the neck. Breathe it in. Breathe it out and flatten against the wall. One more time. Press shoulder blades, press forearms. The goal is to get the front part of the body to pull away from the wall. Tail stays on the wall, shoulder blades stay on the wall, and then the chest is proud. Breathe it in, breathe it out, and release. Step away from the wall, grab some hula hoop, and let it spin. It's funny. It's like yesterday after the weightlifting class, Ori was like, oh, I'm sore. I was like, I am too. I was like, what is it from? She's like, it's that ball. The ball weighs nothing. It adds no resistance for the most part. Let the circles go in the other direction. But it's that general tightening of the muscles and holding it there for a long time that the body's not used to. So doing work up against a wall, we're not used to being at attention quite thusly. So it's like the guy that walked into the gym one day. He goes, oh, you're a teacher? I said, yeah. He goes, what do you teach? I said, yoga. He steps back and he goes, oh, you just kill people slowly. I was like, no, yes. maybe. All right, one more time at the wall. All right, find your stance. Find a comfortable space from the wall. Buns will just graze. And then build it up from the ground up. Let the shoulders roll up and back into their sockets. And then give yourself a little micro step back toward the wall so that you know you're stacked up until that low spine wants to then press in naturally. And the shoulder blades come in just to kiss the wall. We're going to breathe. And then as birds, we need something to sit in. So we're going to take that right knee and turn it out. And then whatever tree you love to do, you might have to give yourself an extra half a step away from the wall. Well, some of us do because I got Southern food in my veins. And start to take that foot and put it wherever it is that you put it for tree. Once your foot is in space, we try not to hook on the knee because that's like the best place on the planet. Ori puts hers in front of her opposite hip. I bring mine up in. Find the press of the thigh and then find the press of the foot. Once you're in, then let the branches of your tree lift. And the goal here is to notice whether you can get that outer right leg to snuggle back toward the wall. And shoulder blades press to the wall. Glute press to the wall. Back of the head, slight press to the wall. And then I tuck my thumbs in for this and I press just my first knuckle outside my pointer finger into the wall. Find the breath. Reach up as if to receive a landing bird. It's coming in and you need to cradle it as it hits your branches. And when it lands, release, melt. And then just lean on the wall. I mean, wouldn't it be glorious if with every step we took on the earth, Mother Nature was reaching up and then just like softening our footsteps for us every time? If we could be just totally loving trees, we'd be like, oh, hold on, I'll catch you, birdie. All right, opposite side. Build it up. Find your happy distance from the wall. That left leg turns out, even if the toe needs to stay on the floor, that's fine. But notice how much of your body you can get pressed to the wall. Then when you're ready, let that leg come in wherever it needs to go. Set yourself up in your perfect tree. Decide what kind of tree you're going to be. Yep. You guys are already there. Let those branches spread wide. First knuckle presses in, shoulder blades press in. It's really weird. I feel like I'm leaning backwards. So if the wall wasn't here, I feel like I would lean over, but I'm so stacked up and straight. If you move the wall, I don't think I would move, but I do feel like I'm leaning backwards. Find a breath. Breathing in. Reach up a little more. Birds coming in. Maybe it's an African bee eater. And then you're going to like just, cradle it as it comes in. And then release. Step away from the wall. Find your mat. Step up to the front edge. And like a beautiful parrot, settle over your feet as if you were going to settle on a perch. Find the center of the foot and bend the knees just a little. Once the knees are bent, lift the shoulders, roll the shoulder blades back and together, draw the belly button in. So it's like you're like a bird that's like, about to sit down so that it can go to sleep. But it's not quite. And then we're going to try this again. We're going to take that right knee and spin it out. And we're gonna be in a bent tree. So then once the knee is out, I can either hold here or I can slide in by my ankle. So I'll turn a little more. So I'm bent, I'm holding, and then if my branches want to lift, I can hold here, and then if I want to expand, I can lift, press with the foot, press with the leg, press with the foot, press with the leg. All righty. Pressing, reaching, and then release. Whew. All right. Shoulders up and back, little bend in the knees. Settle in over the center of the foot. Shift opposite side. Spin that leg out. It's like a marionette. You got kind of stuck somewhere. Then slide the toes in if you can. And just notice there's a little bit more support in this. And then either holding here or keeping toe on the floor if you want to reach out and up. Belly draws in, shoulder blades still kiss together in the back. And then expand. Lift, press away from the earth, reach, and then release. Find a comfortable space over the feet. Drop the chin into the hollow of the throat. Lengthen the back of the neck. Let the hands then drip down toward the earth. And then slowly, 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 almost like if I came over here and I watched, and I like really looked, would I see you as you start to melt upper body toward the earth? It's so slow, so very slow. Just round and round and round, bend the knees at some point, rounding and rounding. So when a bird sits down to sleep, they don't suddenly plop on the perch and plump. They make their way down to the perch, finding perfect balance. Keep going until the fingertips reach toward your maximum length. Maybe the hands crumple on the earth. The head then becomes really heavy. Once you're completely crumpled, knees bent, body aching to come down to the mat, pause there and breathe right into the space between the shoulder blades. Now, holding some firmness in the thighs and maybe a little bit in the base of the pelvis, dislodge the arms, sweep them forward. Take the backs of the wrists and see if you can't tap the backs of the wrists together. Really expanding wing space. Breathe it in. Breathe it out. Release, sweeping back, touch down, bend the knees, knees touch. Come down, child pose if that works for you. Settle into the perch if child pose is not your pose and you want to come down onto forearms and knees for a moment and just find the solace of the earth. These are all good things to do. So birds don't just lift into the sky and stay there. They spend part of their time expanding and soaring, calling out with joy. If any of you watch the ospreys around here, they catch a fish and then they go up and they scream and they're like, I got a fish, it's so amazing, look at me. But then they go and they settle in the branches of something or on the top of a telephone pole, and then they sit and they enjoy their meal. They don't just sit and suddenly just and just eat it. They sit and after a little bit of time, then they partake in the fish. after they've sung their song. So they rise and land, rise and land. So from here, we're going to slide the hands slightly forward, press the heels of the hands in, lift through the back of the spine, arch up, keep the chin tucked in, and then slide back down and in. And then breathe up, arch up, and then back down and in. Reach up, back down and in, and then add movements that feel like your movements. Maybe a hand reaches forward and then it slides back in. Or maybe a hand reaches up and out and then it slides back in. And with the idea of an osprey as it takes off and then it dives toward the water and then it soars again and it comes back down and in. Turn yourself into that vision or one that suits you. We've got 3 more of these, expanding, lifting in any way that makes your body happy. And then with the last one, press in till you rise out of the thighs, slide the fingers up, come up onto knees, expand your arms up overhead, expanded camel, squeeze the glutes in around the tip of the pelvis, open. So this is an opening and a bending and a sweeping. And if your spine is not agreeing with that, make it yours. Maybe expand through the palms of the hands. Maybe open the jaw, expand through the face, expand the toes, or just expand the mind. One more breath. And then back down toward the floor. Shift to one hip. Throw the legs out in front. And then just point and flex opposite feet. Pedal the toes out. And because so many birds eat fish, we're going to go into some back bending. We'll do some fish posture. We'll do some bridge posture. So if you need support in either of those postures, grab a blanket, grab a pillow. The ball that we use for weightlifting class also works. Point both feet when you get a chance. Reach up over the crown of the head and then dive in toward the feet. So make sure that you have close to you the supports that you need. If you have blocks, some of you have blocks. Inhale. Exhale. Left hand stays where it is. Right arm opens up to the side. Breathe it in. Fill your wings and let that arm soar back down. Right hand stays where it is. Left arm breathes up, catches some air, some wind draft, and then slides back down and in. This time, both arms open up. The upper body sits up tall, reaching up, breathing in, breathing out. Slide the heels in toward the body. Reach for the backs of the thighs or the outsides of the feet. And then wings up and out. Like eagles taking off. Think about what kind of bird you would be. Would you be colorful so that you could stand out, or would you be muted so that you could be camouflaged? Would you have a beautiful song, or would you be insistent like a raven? And then let those feet melt together. Send them back out in front. Roll down onto your spine and decide whether today is a day that you can stretch out long or whether you need the soles of the feet on the floor. I'm going to do the modified version. Ori's very good at the full version, so I'm going to turn sideways. I'm going to have my feet on the floor, hands on either sides of the hips. And then just like with the wall, now gravity's going to help because gravity is great like that. It is the 100% assurance on this planet. It's not death and taxes, it's gravity. So the back of the sacrum presses in, the belly button draws in to flatten out the back of the spine. The shoulder blades spread like warm peanut butter in the sun, unless you're allergic, and then maybe it's warm chocolate in the sun. And then the backs of the arms press down and in. And then we're just going to start with simple lift the lumbar spine, keeping the sacrum on the floor and the shoulder blades on the floor, and then press the lumbar spine down. Lift and release the belly, and then lower the spine down and in. Lift and release the belly, tailbone tips down into the floor, and then tip that spine down and in. Now hold the spine down and in. At first, lengthen the back of the neck by pulling the chin closer to the throat and creating that lovely yogi double chin. And then choose a version of fish that works for you. If you need to be up on a pillow or a blanket for this, perfect. If you're just going to lift your spine, beautiful. Lift it with great attention to detail. If you're going to completely come up into fish, then we slowly bring the elbows up and in, tip the head back into the floor, and lift through the heart space. So a lot of this has to do with the downward press of the forearms and the effort that I'm using in my center spine in order to lift and press away from the earth. Give yourself one more breath. And then slowly press the top of the head away so that the lumbar spine can come down and in. If you want to put the soles of the feet on the floor and let the knees tick-tock from side to side, you're welcome to. So we're going to do fish one more time. And you can decide. Now see, I have this bun in on my head, and buns don't really work for fish posture because you're looking for that space pretty much where a bun sits on your head. You're looking for that space to put the back of the head on the floor. And if you're working just with the spine space, that's fine. Then you don't have to worry about the back of the head. We want to make sure the back of the head isn't adversely pressing into the floor. All right, knees come up, shoulder blades press back and in. And then start the process. Lift through the sternum, press through the thoracic. The back of the head rests gently. And all of the effort is right up there between the shoulder blades and just below. Shoulders try not to pull into the ears. The backs of the legs press down into the floor. If your legs are long and away, the feet are flexed, the toes pulling in toward the kneecaps, and the quadriceps are nice and flexed so that it protects the lower back. Take this into any version of the posture that you feel comfortable. Dorsal fin over top, arms could lay overhead. Breathe in. Breathe out, slowly lift, slide, release. Bring the soles of the feet together, let the knees lay out wide. And be a fish in waiting for a hungry osprey. Be part of the chain of life. And just rest. And while the lower body and the hips rest, let the arms sweep up along the floor. Open your wings one more time. Really bring your shoulder blades down into the mat or the floor. Lengthen the back of the neck. Pull the low spine a little closer to the floor, just adding a little attention to the posture. And adversely allow the inner thighs to relax. Find fullness in the breath. And then make a decision whether you want to do a supported bridge or whether you want to just do a regular bridge. Knees come up together, that low spine presses into the floor, pull the tailbone a little further down and away. You can leave your arms up and out if you'd like to, just make sure that the head doesn't get involved in the pressing process. Ankles and heels right under knees unless you need to step wider to protect the knees. Press the feet down, curl the tailbone up into the sacrum, lengthen the back of the neck, and press the pelvis up. Now, most of the time we do this and we press the backs of the arms into the mat as well, and when we're working on upper back strength. But right now, if you've got the arms up and out, they just get to relax, and you have to bring the attention into the glutes, into the hamstrings, and into the inner thighs to keep the knees from flying away like happy free birds. Make sure that there's no backward press in the head, but there's an upward lift in the sternum as each breath is received by the body. And then next time you experience an exhale, allow that to be a signal to the body that, like a large eagle coming in to land in its giant nest of sticks and fluff and feathers, that pelvis can land. If it would feel appropriate to bring the thighs into the chest, bring the thighs into the chest. But if that doesn't feel appropriate for your back, then maybe just swish the knees again side to side one more time. Yep, rock and roll in any way that feels like it would be of service to your body. There's one thing about watching birds living in my living room. They don't have senses of have tos. They have sense of do. They just are. They don't look like they're sitting there going, hey, do you mind if I eat some of this food? They just do. And all of them crowd in at the same time, making happy little chirps the whole time. Or then one will just like fly up to the top of the cage and smash itself into the top of the cage. And it just does. And it has no thought of, I did it, now I didn't do it, oh, I shouldn't have. It just does. So make any more soothing movements that you need to make, and then make the decision in your mind how you want to spend your Shavasana, whether you want to sit up in a meditative posture or whether you want to relax back nice and long. If you've got a wall nice and close, you can turn around and put your legs up the wall. You can put a pillow underneath. And then imagine your body as a feather. Most of us will bend down and pick up a single feather when we see them on the ground. And feathers aren't flat, just like bodies aren't flat. They have a curve from top to bottom. They all also have a curve from left to right as to the way that they're designed to lift and hold the bird while it's in the air. It has the stiff spine down the middle that eventually tapers out into the reedy little pieces and the soft tufts of the feather at the end. Imagine your spine and your bones as the spine of a feather. And then as the energy in your body moves away from the spine, imagine those parts of your body as the tufts of the feather. The silk in a feather is so very strong that they are then tied together and woven together to make things like fly fishing flies, to make jewelry. There are very few who have ever tried to pull one apart. They're terribly hard to tear. You have to cut them. So like a feather, your soft parts are pulling away from your hard bits. But yet, there's nothing that's going to tear you apart. Your light is in there holding you together. And with a breath, just let yourself be soft. And firm in the knowing of who you are. And then making your choice, whether you want to stay where you are because you have the time, or whether you want to start to increase the breath. There is a knowing that comes in the silence. Soft as a feather falling to the ground that makes no noise. It's a tickling, an inkling, information that's being given. Like wind under the wings of a bird. Breathe into that space. We'll end as we always do with 3 breaths and sound. If you're going to stay where you are, stay there. I'll end the meeting. You won't have to get up and do anything. Belly, ribs, and collarbones. Breathe into the belly. Ribs. Fill the wings of your soul. You are loved beyond measure. It was a joy to be here. Thank you for being open and present. Namaste.